Hello, world. This is John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger, podcaster, home chef, raconteur. That's quite a mouthful. Here with John Dudek from Sage Settlements Consulting. And today we're going to talk about the role of MetLife in structured installment sales. MetLife, that's the one with Peanuts and Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't seen, those ads as much anymore, but absolutely. That's what I remember from growing up.
Very good. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about your partner, MetLife, and their background, their credit history, and perhaps why they have chosen to enter this somewhat obscure field for homeowners and real estate investors.
Yeah, so the structured installment sale itself, kind of first originated the early 2000s. There were a few carrier partners that got into it. And again, it's a deferral strategy for people that have appreciated assets, capital gains exposure. And so you can imagine it if it originated in the early 2000s, it kind of ran out of steam in the 2008 era when there weren't a whole lot of highly appreciated assets in the real estate world. So MetLife has kind of picked up the torch. They took quite a bit of time vetting this process, working with the IRS, making sure that this is a viable tax deferral, tax lowering strategy. They are one of the most, I'll say conservative, but just I think most reliable, financially strong life insurance carrier partners out there. They've been in business for 155 years. They have tens of billions of dollars of assets on their books. In the 155 years that they've been in business, they've never once defaulted on any sort of annuity, life insurance, disability, any sort of payment. They've never defaulted. So they're kind of from a, guy with an insurance background, they're the perfect partner because they've just got kind of an infallible record and they can give the different parties of this transaction confidence that they're going to be there and be a great partner for the duration.
And the reason our homeowners and real estate investors care about this is because in the structured installment sales, ultimately, MetLife is the entity that's committing to making the installment payments to the real estate investor and the homeowner after the sale of the property and the structured installment sale is executed. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. So they're taking on the obligation to make payments. The buyer in the transaction will make their payment up front, just like they would in any other transaction. But the money will go to MetLife, and they are now on the hook to make the periodic payments for 4 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the seller has chosen. They're on the hook to make those payments. So uh, as a seller, as an investor, homeowner that's liquidating their asset, they want to know that the person making the payments is going to be reliable. And that's kind of the secret sauce that we've talked about in the past of the structured installment sale compared to the traditional installment sale. You've got someone making payments over a long period of time, and you can have the confidence to know that they're going to be there because of their track record.
Very good, very good. So, can you tell us a little bit about how MetLife issues an annuity with the seller as the beneficiary? How does that work mechanically?
Yeah, so MetLife kind of has two components, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but we'll try and keep it simple. I'm happy to do it if any of your listeners want to, dive in. But for this podcast, they've got one entity that is the assignment company. They've been given the assignment to make these payments, and what the in order to make those payments, they purchase an annuity contract. And for those in the insurance world, everyone kind of knows what an annuity is, but maybe not everyone in the real estate world. It's essentially just a contract that's going to make payments with a predetermined interest rate over time. So MetLife issues this annuity where the seller of the property is the beneficiary. So they're the ones who are going to receive the payments, the amount and the duration and the time the payments are going to be made are clearly spelled out. And through that financial mechanism, MetLife makes those payments. It is an insurance contract. So a lot of times we get questions from sellers and say, well, this is great, but what happens if I pass away? I choose to receive payments over 10 years and I pass away over in 5 years. Does MetLife just keep all the money that they owe me? And the answer is no. Uh, this is an insurance contract where you can name one or multiple beneficiaries. So if God forbid something happens to the seller, the payments just get passed on to whoever they name as a beneficiary. So it's really a nice tool, not only for the seller but also for kind of estate planning and looking at generational wealth for multiple generations.
Okay, well, in the interest of not climbing down that deep rabbit hole, I'm just going to give a little scenario. So realtors and homeowners and investors can understand that if the real estate owner sold the property to MetLife on an installment sale, and then MetLife would pay the installments, they could understand that. But this is a little bit like what we call a Missouri waltz in a 1031 exchange, 1, 2, 3. So if I'm getting this correctly, what happens is MetLife, Sage Settlements, the homeowner, the tax attorney, proactively financially model what the annuity is going to look like, how much equity the seller is going to take in the at the close of escrow, how much is going to go into the annuity, how that annuity is going to be paid over a series of years. The buyer, as in a 1031 exchange, executes an agreement to complete any documentation necessary to complete the installment sale. They either are paying cash for the property or through a loan and down payment are paying cash for the property. That cash, to the extent of the purchase agreement, goes to the seller, except some of it goes to MetLife, who then takes on the obligation of paying the installments to the seller. Do I have that right?
You got it right. Yeah. And it sounds more complicated than it is, but yes, that's right. The buyer makes their payment up front, again, just like they would in any transaction, and they take title of the property. They own the property at the time of sale. It's not like MetLife is holding any sort of
Right.
deed on the property. So I think that's really important. I'm glad you pointed that out. And then yeah, instead of the seller just receiving a check from the buyer, the the funds in escrow would go to MetLife, and they would use those funds to procure the annuity and to make those payments over time to the seller. So it's just kind of adding, again, changing from a traditional installment sale. It's adding one more player to that transaction, but it's all the reason it's done is to give the seller the security to know that they're going to receive those payments over a long period of time.
And also, as opposed to a regular cash sale, rather than paying out what could be 37% at close of escrow or shortly in the following tax year or the existing tax year, 37% in the form of federal, state, and Medicare taxes. The money, depending upon how much they decide to take, is instructed to go through MetLife in exchange for that annuity, which then qualifies for an installment sale, which the homeowner is then collecting um, interest and monthly payments based on what is closer to 100 cent dollars rather than 63 cent dollars. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about pre-tax dollars that you can put and earn interest on, which everybody always wants to do, as opposed to post-tax. So yes, I think you've got that exactly right.
Yeah, this is going to take a little patience and time for people to understand because a lot of people, when realtors included, tax attorneys included, CPAs included, homeowners included, investors included, there's a potential for them to go like deer in the headlights on this conversation. And so you really kind of have to dispense it out in teaspoons and tablespoons. But I think the way we just did it, it makes sense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reaction I get from most either property owners or realtors or anybody else, even CPAs, they say, "Huh, that sounds really interesting. Why have I not heard of this? Why is this something that I haven't done before?" And I kind of spelled out the reason why it lost popularity in the close to the 2008 range. So it's something you got to get comfortable with, but something that is a very real strategy that has some real um, highly rated financial institutions behind it that can help a lot of people out there.
So this instrument became popular in the early 2000s, just before the 2008 meltdown. Is that what you're saying?
That's when it was kind of created. Yeah, I think Allstate Life Insurance Company was the originator of this, and there are a few other players. But as it was picking up steam, it just lost its market completely when the
Yeah,
'08 crash happened.
right. Everything fell into a big black hole. Everything.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was like a mass extinction event. Everything fell into that black hole. Okay, so on a just a brief example of the annuity, can you again remind us of how long those annuities or how soon those annuities are paid out and whether they're paid monthly and or annually?
Yeah, it's your choice. They're very flexible. So you can do as little as 3 or 4 years to spread out those payments if you just want to, kind of get your cash out quicker, or if you're looking for an aggressive long-term deferral that's really going to bring your taxes down, you can spread it out as much as 40 years. So again, some people use that for estate planning, knowing that they'll never receive all the payments, but it's going to go to their kids after they pass away. The payments can be received monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. So again, very flexible. And this is where we like to bring in the financial advisor, the CPA, the attorney to advise on your specific situation and when is it best for you to receive those payments if you want to go down this road.
And just a little asterisk on that. In the state of California, the sweet spot threshold is under 250,000 to stay in a more attractive state and federal and Medicare tax bracket.
Well, yeah, if you stay under the 250, if you're married filing jointly, that eliminates that Medicare tax completely, that 3.8%, and it gets you down, most of that is going to be now in the 15% federal range as opposed to 20%. So that's 5% savings there. And then state, it's going to get you in the 8, 9% range as opposed to 12 or 13%. So that is a very nice sweet spot that we try and shoot for.
Yeah, so that sounds like you're saving about 13% on your tax brackets if you go with that program.
Right. Yes. And it's a again, depending on everybody's situation, but yeah, great way to look at it.
And you want to be mindful as the Sage settlement consultant, the client, the CPA, and everybody else involved, that 250 also has to take into consideration retirement income, interest income, investment income, Social Security income, correct?
That's right. Yeah, again, with the CPA's blessing, all your income is kind of put together and it can be subject to those tax brackets. So we want to look at the full financial picture, not just the sale of this asset.
Okay, now in real estate, whenever we're dealing with a real estate contract, we're always working hand in glove with the lender. We want and the borrower, and we want to know FICO scores, credit scores, debt ratios, and all that. Now, in the absence of that, an amateur like me looking at MetLife is going to think Dun and Bradstreet, Chubb and Company, Best and Company, see what their business ratings are. What's the best way of understanding and vetting MetLife's financial strength?
Well, you can just look at the, AM Best rating, they're A plus across the board. We have flyers we can circulate that show their assets, their liabilities. Again, I think I said they're in the 50 to 80 billion dollars in assets range, and so you go to any financial website and look up their ratings, their assets, their balance sheet. You're going to be, I think, sleep well at night knowing that they're your financial partner.
Very good. So today, John Dudek from Sage Settlements Consultants and I talked about the role of MetLife in structured installment sales. Sounds like you got a good partner there. And John, if people want to contact you to talk about their own situation, how do they do that?
You can see my cell phone at the bottom of my name there, the 401-524-4022. Please feel free to call me, email me. My email will be included in the distribution of these podcasts and videos. It's jDudek@sagesettlements.com. You can also contact my partner, Tanis Kelly, at tkelly@sagesettlements.com. And we're looking forward to answering any questions that you have.
Very good. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our video blog today, and we will see you on the next video blog. Bye for now.